Hello, everybody. Welcome to my favorite Wednesday activities, a little bit of watercolor painting. And tonight we're going to get a little festive in an odd sort of a way and paint a lizard with a Santa Claus suit on. This is going to be fun. I hope you guys have some fun with it. And maybe it's not the most traditional thing in the world, but it's gonna be interesting. So let's get started with the supplies I'm using. I've got some Fabriano Studio watercolor paper here, 9x12, 140 pound. Mostly, I think I'm going to be using my King Art paint brushes. Here they are. These are 90-20, the pointed round brushes. And over on my right hand side, I've got my M. Graham paints. Okay, so let's get started with it. I'm not sure, should I start with, I'm gonna do something crazy to start with, and I'm gonna start at the top and work my way down. Normally I just kind of start, I don't know, somewhere in the middle, I think, and we'll go from there. Sudike is here. Welcome, Sudike, asking how I'm gonna paint this, and I always say I kind of want to know too. I go into these with just kind of a general idea on what I want to do. I don't do a pre-painting of this in any way, shape, or form. I like the spontaneity of it. And I hope you all like it too, that from time to time I lose my way in here, that I sometimes struggle with things. They don't work out the way I thought they would, or I move from one area to another and forget things. I like that because it gives me the opportunity to demonstrate to everybody how you can recover from things that maybe don't go as you originally had planned, or maybe you have to enact another plan or restart what you're doing or whatnot. I like that spontaneity in these live streams, and I don't want to take that away too much, but I would be lying if I said I didn't actually think about these things before I get started, or a few of these things before I get started. So I'm grabbing a little bit of Pyrrole Red, a little bit of alizarin crimson. Alizarin crimson can get to be a bit of a strong color. And back on this side of this guy over here. I'm going to make this the left side for me, kind of the darker side. So I'm just going to drop in a little bit of richer color over there. And I'm going to leave a lot of things on the right-hand side over here a little bit brighter. And we're going to start with that. Okay, I got some paper towels over here. Let's see. Last week we had a fiasco trying to get the technology to work. Everything this week has been rebooted. Everything has been updated. Everything should be working properly. So I'm going to kind of knock on wood here and say we're going to be problem-free this Wednesday. I'm going to say that without any bit of assurance on my part that that's actually going to happen. Just having a little faith. I did take some notes. I still have them written on my desk right up there about what the problem was that YouTube told me I had during last week's show, and I tried to write it down as it was. I looked up what the problem was. I think I remedied the problem, or I took the steps to remedy the problem as YouTube told me they were. So let's see how it goes. And I think part of my problem was, I hate to say this, part of the problem was my fault, my boneheadedness, when somehow, I'm not going to say I know when, somehow, some way, shape, or form, my output stream got set to 4K, and my poor network here couldn't handle outputting at 4K resolution, and that was putting a lot of strain on things. So I've dialed that back. I'm broadcasting in 1080 right now. And anybody who has no cognizance of video sizes or resolutions is going, okay, this is not the most exciting thing. I got you. That's as much as we're going to talk about it this evening. Now, as always, we've got some people coming in, and we've got some people going out. As always, I want to make the call for anybody who wants to ask any questions. Please go ahead and do that. I love talking during these sessions. I love answering questions. It's always a lot better for me if we can make this into a discussion rather than a diatribe. So anybody with any questions, please throw them out there. And I guess I'd kind of prefer that they were art related, but they don't have to be. It could be about anything. And if nobody responds, I'm just going to keep right on painting, and I'm going to keep right on talking, and everybody's going to have to listen to whatever I have to say. And I'm just telling you, that may not be the best thing in the world either. Sorry about that. But I'm going to try to put on a few darker areas here, right? Some places where I think there might be a fold or a ripple in the fabric. I'm just going to try to start to get a few of these areas put in here, and while this is still wet, the water can help to dissipate some of that color and make it, look a little bit better for us. Could really help us out with that first layer of color. Looks like that actually dried a little quicker right there than I thought it was going to, but that's okay. We'll deal with it. Just push that around a little bit. This over here is already a little too dry, and it looks like I've already put a finger in it or something like that. Sadiq, what have you been up to this week? This was a pretty good week for me. Started out good, continued to go pretty well. Let's see, where do I gotta go here? Lots of times for me, my week starts out pretty well and then goes south really quickly. But this week has gone well, I'm happy to say. You know what, I want to just put a little bit of orange in this a little bit, just a slight amount. I just want to vary this color. These reds can be overpowering sometimes, so a little bit of something maybe in here to offset that would help out. And I think that little bit of something that I'm going to put in there is that little bit of orange or a little bit of yellow in there. There we go. And I didn't paint him far enough down that we can see his hands, but we get the idea. I'm sure this lizard would be holding a package or something like that. Let's see. So you could have been practicing pen and ink sketching to build my skills using values. Cool. I like that. Are you using a dip pen, or are you using something, just a regular waterproof pen like that? What kind of pen are you using? I'm curious. I don't know if you remember Jennifer Newman, who used to be a regular here. She's from Australia, and for years and years and years and years, she would do pen and ink drawings. She absolutely loved her dip pen. I actually asked her one time if she were on a desert island and could only have one, she can only have one of her favorite art supplies, what would it be? And she chose her dip pen and ink because she enjoys that medium that much. Mostly use. I also continue to practice fading and wash is good. Mostly use fountain pens. I already have a collection of inks. Cool. I love doing graded washes. I absolutely love graded washes. Just to be able to put some color on and find your way to make a nice gradation. I've said it before. I've done graduated washes where I've started. Look at it, just so nice, straight on down. I've started with my desk is slanted. I've started and gone this way. I've started. I might need a little more color here. I got something, a little dot of something. I've started this way and worked my way back up, which always is a little bit harder to do. Just to get the feeling of what it's like to work, with gravity and against gravity. So much fun. I love doing graded washes. They're a lot of fun, and really they're the heart of watercolor painting. If you can master a graded wash, you can master anything in watercolor painting. All right, so got a few lines over here. Looks a little funny right now. That's okay. The hat's looking okay. Maybe a little funny here. This side, not much on it. We're going to get to it. I'm not worried about any of it. Watercolors are one of those weird things where you put the color on and it looks strange, it looks odd. You put another layer on, it looks a little better, looks good. You put another layer on, and you go, I don't know, looks weird. You put that last layer on, you're like, okay, really, it came together. It looks pretty good. I didn't tell you had to go bottom to top. You don't have to go bottom to top. You don't have to go bottom to top. You can go side side. Let's do a side side one. Side side. Let's see, where can we do it? Oh man, I just put my finger in that one. Side side. A bit of stronger wash here. Side side. And then I used to do them all 4 directions. I would do this for 40 minutes a night. I love doing this. And then a nice wash here and go back the other way. I hope I'm on screen and you can see what I'm doing. Go back that way. just work that color right out like that. Maybe we plunged in a little bit. There we go. That one looks better. So you got one bottom up, you got one left to right, you got one right to left. This one still could be a little better. As long as it's damp, we can go in and fix it. That one goes right to left. I do think that's the hardest one to do because you're going against your bristles. The other ones you can do with your bristles, however you do it. We got to top to bottom here. Actually, that one turned out not too bad with a little help. All right, cool. So let's get back to our lizard. This guy's gonna make me laugh all night. All right, what I want to do is just get a little bit of this yellow ochre. Just thin it down a little bit. I don't want it super bright. A little bit of this blue in there, maybe a little bit of gray in there. That's a good color. And I want to paint his underneath here. Right? I want to paint underneath here, his lip. Here. Trying very hard not to put my hand in any kind of wet paint. Maybe we can even lighten that a little bit as we go. But a little bit of this yellow ochre right along his lips as they go out. His bottom lip, I guess I should say, as it goes out this way. As it comes down, I want it to gray out a bit, quite a bit. So mix in a little bit more Payne's gray with that as we come down. Could put a little bit of the blue in there, but I want this to be, this is going to lighten up really nicely. This is going to look like it's all kind of under here and a little bit of shadow area. I don't want to lose all of this color underneath, right? All of this color, but I want it to lose a little bit of that color. And then give me a little bit of this. I'm going to go with this phthalo green. I love my phthalo green. And a little bit of new gamboge to make a wonderful greenish color here. And just as we move back along his mouth, I'm still kind of on the bottom side of his jaw here. As we move on this back side, I just want to put in some colors here. Right? As long as we keep this wet, we can continue to manipulate these colors however we want. Let's bring up the brightness of this yellow ochre just a little bit as we get out from underneath his chin. We'll bring this right on around that way and then let it meet up with a bunch of this green. And that's going to be the underside of his mouth there. Cool. I'm going to kind of stop it right there. I like to do this when I have two areas and I need to kind of blend them together. I try to do a bit of a graded wash here, right? A bit of a valued wash, so that I can stop in an area, the smallest area. So the smallest area I'm trying to paint is between his lip and the back of his head here. Make that the smallest area, stop there. So if there is any kind of a tide line, it's the smallest thing possible and you're never going to notice it. I just want to do that so I can pause for a moment, take a deep breath, and allow the paint right along his lip to dry a little bit. That's the one area I'm really willing to have a tide line right there. All right. Now I can flip it over and start the process on the top. Now, over there, he's got red eyes. I'm not going to give him red eyes. I'm going to give him the same green eyes he's got, the same green color skin he's got everywhere else. So I'm gonna do this. I got my yellow ochre color here. It doesn't have to be super bright still. I'm going to put it, and it kind of comes up around his nostrils. I'm going to do that right around his nostrils and down most of his, what I'm calling his lip. Right down there. Cool. And then the rest of everything else is going to be this fun green color. It can be a little greener in some areas. It can be a little yellower in other areas. But this nice, strong green, lovely color, lovely. Let's see, I can take that right up around his eye, like that. If I want to make it a little darker, well, I'll darken it up on the next layer. Darken it up on the next layer. So I don't have quite as many people here as we have had in streams past. I thought this would be a fun thing to do. I have a bit of an odd sense of humor. Maybe not everybody thought a lizard Santa Claus would be quite as fun as I thought it was going to be. It's always possible. I thought this was going to be a hoot. I still think it's hysterically funny to do a lizard Santa. But maybe everybody will catch on in replay. But those of you who made it, thank you for joining. I'm glad to have you here. I'm glad you could join me in this holiday season for one of my favorite nights of the week, Watercolor Wednesdays. Back here every Wednesday at 7 Pacific. Let's see. I've been working on another project. I've been working on a couple of projects that I can show too when I'm waiting for this to dry up in just a second, so everybody can see that. Okay, so there we go. There we go. Got some nice color on him right now. I just think it's hysterical. This is running over a little bit more than I wanted to, but that's a result. That running, that bleeding of that color, that's a result of the paper that we're using. All right, and we've got an arm to do down here. I think the green next to this red is really going to pop this off. This is just going to turn out hysterical. All right. And like most of my paintings, I'm painting in specific areas to fill in a specific amount of color. I'm not trying to get the value exactly right. I'm not trying to get the color exactly right. All of that stuff can be adjusted on the next layer or the next layer. I want to get some good color on there. I want to get an idea in my head of the direction it needs to go for the next layer. But all of these colors can be adjusted slightly, and sometimes, you know what, they don't even need to be adjusted. They can be a little off, and they can be a little whatever they're going to be, as long as we understand that and work with the colors as they're being laid down on the paper. I'm moving this around. I hope this is in view of everything there. I thought it was going to be. I thought I did a pretty good job of setting things up. There we go. Oh, those are some bright arms. That's okay. We're gonna we'll get those taken care of. Those are some bright arms. Wow. All right, we got some red to take care of up here. It's that Pyrrol red. This nice Pyrrol red's a nice fire engine-y color red. While the rest of this is drying, we can come up and do some work here on his hat. Right. We got a few areas here that really need some darks. Something like this. I'm going to put some color down and I'm going to take some color off. A lot of people will wet that whole area and then work it completely wet. I want to have a hard line on part of this. I want to know that I can force it to make a fold in this fabric. That fold for me is dictated by a little bit of a hard spot. So I've put just a bit of color right next to where I want that fold to be, and then I'm just going to blend the rest of the side out. It makes a wonderful little area that looks very much like some folded fabric. Something like this. You just touch that little wet spot, and I really didn't want to do that. And then I probably need just a little bit of color on this outside here. And this hat should be starting to look like it's got some folds to it, like there's something to this hat all of a sudden. I just need to pull that off ever so slightly. Now, I'm having to work it a little bit more than I really would want to, or I really think I need to. That's as a result of the paper that I'm using. Not a big deal. Once you understand that it's gonna move, it's gonna continue. The color's gonna continue to move and act in a specific way. You can account for that. It's not really a big deal. Cotton paper wouldn't quite do this. Natalie is here. Hello, Natalie. Thank you for joining. I'm not paying attention. I'm just painting a hat here. I hope the hat's starting to look better. Natalie, I hope you are experiencing the same heat wave that we are here. It's been warm here for the better part of 3 days, so I think it should be moving your way. I think it's going to be quite a warm Christmas here. There we go. I think he's looking good. I think the hat's looking great. Maybe a little bit of color right back up here. Something like that. Great dimension. Thank you. My painting is spotty on some other things, but with hats, I got it nailed. I've nailed it. All right, let's paint. Let's get some more color on this guy. Now, he's pretty bright. He is pretty bright. I can do a couple of things. I can mix in with that same green a different color of yellow or an orange here, or I can mix in a darker green, which would mean it's the same green and a little blue, or any combination thereof. What's wet down here? Anything? I'm going to go with changing my yellow to an orange a little bit. I'm going to try that, and let's just see what that gets us here, if anything. And I think he's going to end up looking kind of like the Grinch, to tell you the truth. We're having a beautiful week, getting warmer towards the weekend. but not hot. Interesting, not hot. Man, it's been in the high 70s and low 80s here. So I don't know. You might have you might have a really warm weekend. Maybe it's gonna settle down before it gets to you. I don't know. But yeah, it's exceedingly warm here. Exceedingly warm. All right, I like this. I'm going to continue this right on down. Here, where's his hat? Goes there. And this is kind of back behind his face. So I'm going to do something like this. And I've obviously touched wet paint somewhere because I've got green splots everywhere. I do that a lot, don't I? I do that a lot. I got to figure that out. I shouldn't do that. I really shouldn't do that. All right, while I've got this paint, I'm going to look at this, and I'm going to really start to set in his nose here. So his nose goes kind of like that. The side of his nose goes kind of like that. Compared to hundreds in the summer, 70s fine. JC's here. Love the painting. Super fun. Thank you. Thank you. I couldn't resist. You know, I did all of those. I did a whole series of paintings, and maybe I didn't display them quite as much as I should have. But I did a whole set of paintings that really were kind of mashups or not necessarily what you would expect from something. And I had so much fun with it that I've wanted to, I should say, for a while. I've wanted to get back into doing some more of it. And then when I saw this image, I was like, oh my God, this just makes me laugh hysterically. So I just wanted to do it because it seemed like it was fun. So you guys get to suffer through me painting something that tickles me to death. And I hope you all have fun with it too. I always think, and maybe wrongfully so, you guys can tell me, but I always think if I have fun painting something, you all are going to have fun watching me paint it. You might have fun watching me paint something that is, technically better or, of more timely interest or something like that. But I know that when I watch videos, if somebody's painting it and they're having a lot more fun doing it, then I have more enjoyment watching it. Does he have whiskers? So, that's a great question. That's a fantastic question. Let's see. If you look at the reference photo, he has whiskers on one side of his face, which I don't quite understand, and which is fine. I don't have to understand it. It's an AI-generated image, obviously. And whoever generated it, I didn't generate the image. I found the image. But they obviously went, yeah, I think it's okay if he has whiskers on one side and not on another side. So what we have there is a partially whiskered Santa lizard. How's that? Say that 3 times fast. Partially whiskered Santa lizard. That's what we're working with. But yes, but no, to further answer your question, I won't be painting the whiskers. AI generated it over a cat. Oh, it could have been. Yeah, it could have been. Could have been. Honestly, I don't worry about that because I'm not trying to reproduce that specifically. I'm not trying to, exactly reproduce it anyway. So if it looks a bit odd to me, I'm actually kind of cool with it. It means it's probably going to look funny enough that it's going to be fun. I don't know. It's kind of my thought. Could be wrong. Could be off my rocker a little bit. I thought I was doing really good. Maybe I'm not doing so well, and that's why I think this is funny. Anything's possible. All right, he's got a bit of a area right there. Artist edit. That's what we do when we paint and problem solve. There you go. I think it's just what we do when we paint and want to have a little bit of fun. We'll just figure it out along the way. If we don't want whiskers, they won't make it on there. If we do, you know what? Whiskers will make it on there somehow. Somehow. But I think I'm going to pass on the whiskers for now. But I do think it's just incredibly funny that they're there. I noticed that last night, 2 nights ago, whenever I first stumbled upon this. I was like, it's a bit odd. Okay, we're doing good with his face. Starting to get some dimension. The hat's looking good. We're going to get some shadow on the white. I'm going to leave that white, a little white for the time being because I want a buffer between this and this. So if this gets wet, I can still go back and work on that. I wish I had that down here. We don't. That's okay. I'm gonna work on an arm here. So what I'm seeing is a shadow just inside the vent. I'm just gonna talk as I do this. I know it's a shock. You guys are gonna get everything straight out of my mind here tonight. A shadow underneath this vest, right there, and that kind of allows you to see some of that shoulder, the arch in some of that shoulder. So I'm gonna let a little bit of that set for just a second before I pull this out. Let's see. You really like how it looks underneath this, under his chin here. How it's got a couple of I was gonna say ruffles. Ruffles doesn't sound right though, does it? He's got some jowlage there. How's that? He's got some jowlage. He's a bit of an older, he's a slightly bit older lizard Santa Claus. And his age is showing just a little bit. That's how I'm going to say it. I'm going to try to be really nice to him. Let's see. This has got to come. And I did notice as I was doing this, if you look at his arm, he seems to have some serious muscleage here. He's obviously is a lizard that's worked out quite a bit in his younger days. A turkey neck. Suke said, I think they call it turkey neck. I think turkey neck is probably what they call it. I think you're right. He's got a turkey neck. I haven't heard the term turkey neck in quite a long time. That's an interesting term. A turkey neck. Yeah, absolutely. A turkey neck. I like it. I like it. All right, so a little bit of interest here on his arm. I'm going to leave his bicep alone there. He can have a bit of a bulging bicep there. But starting to get some definition on his arm. I got a little puddle there I need to spread out just a little bit. Okay, and his other arm. So light is coming in this direction. Shoo, right? The back of his head on this side is a little darker. Things on this side are a little darker, which means the inside of this arm gets to be a little bit darker. Just trying to talk through this a little bit. The geckos in my yard do push-ups. They do. Are they trying to? Okay, I'm gonna ask why. Are the push-ups as a result of breathing somehow, or do they do that to warm up? Why are they doing so much exercising? What's the mechanism for which they do all of that, all of those push-ups? I have seen, you know what, now that you say it, I've seen the lizards around here do a few push-ups too. And I just went, oh, that's weird, and never really gave too many thoughts about it. But, yeah, I don't know why they do push-ups. Because they're weird. They're all fitness freaks. They want to stay in great shape. Natalie, do you have any idea why they do that? I don't. I have no idea at all. All right, this arm is looking pretty good, I think. Whoops. All right, can you see that arm? Now that arm really looks like he's got a big muscle there. Look at that. Big muscly lizard arm. Rah. I think it's to warm them up somehow. Okay, cool. Probably right. Somehow, some way, shape, or form, doing those push-ups helps warm them up faster or keep them warmer somehow. All right. Okay. Now, what do we need to do here? Now, I've got this. I want to make a little puddle of my gray skin color. And so this color that's underneath here, which I used to hate with a passion, I would hate it. But I bought a Holbein paint set, and it's got this yellow gray or ochre gray color in it, and I really, as I used it more and more, I'm really like, that's a fantastic color. I don't know why more sets don't have that. And so for a long time I've tried to make my own to varying degrees of success. Tonight's, I think, is a little bit more successful than some nights when I've tried to make it on my own. And I think my colors have run just a little bit over here. I'm going to try to pull some of this back just a little bit along his neck there. I just want to lighten that value just a bit. Push that color around. Yeah, there we go. Now you can see that just a little bit more. That's good. That's good. All right, but I like this color, and it's I've learned to understand, I guess, a little bit more that it's actually a pretty useful color. And so now when I mix it up on my own, I look at it. I always look at it and I go, why did I not like that to begin with? It's kind of a neat color. And I'm gonna paint this color over a little bit to here and a little bit down his chin, because I want everybody to know that this is a bit in shadow here, right? This is a little darker. It's in a little more shadowed area. And then as we move over to this greenish area, we're going to change our color that little bit. Let's see, did I blend this in well enough? enough. I think I got it pretty good. I might actually lighten this color up just a little bit. No, maybe not. Come over a little bit more of that orange to just take that edge off of that color. And I'm going to put I just wanted to do the same thing here, be darker right underneath his lip, get a little bit lighter as it goes down and then back into the shadow area. I've got a big blob of orange on my brush and I don't want it. All right, good, 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 good. And now we can switch back over to some of this color as we get close to the Santa suit. And I'm not trying to force any one color. If this were to stay green over there, I think that'd be fine. What I do want to do is just to manage that color a little bit as it gets down a little bit down his cheek. Ochre gray. Yes. What colors are you using to make the ochre gray? Yellow ochre and Payne's gray. Yeah, let me... I like that. I like that. I'm gonna take just a little bit of color out right there. I very much like that. Oh, I got a piece of paper here. So, yellow ochre, pretty strong color, right? Yellow ochre. Payne's gray. Could be a little stiffer than that. There, that's a little better. Payne's gray. And then there's really a whole range of these colors in there. But you can see it makes a, you know, if we darken it up even further, a little bit more on this side, you can see it would look like that. If we yellowed it up more on this side, it's going to look a bit more like that. But it's a wonderful color. And if we thin it down, right, you can see it's gonna take away a lot of that really brightness that just the straight yellow ochre has, and it gives this it adds a lot of lightness to it. Dwayne is here. Hello, welcome, Dwayne. Glad you can make it. Just talking about a color that I got in a Holbein set of paints a long time ago, which is it's basically a mix between yellow ochre and Payne's gray, and all of the different colors that you can mix with it. And this is kind of this lightened up quite a bit because I used a lot of that on this guy's chin underneath there, on his turkey neck, even though he's not a turkey, on his turkey neck. So there we go. And as a result of this paper and moving around a little bit, I got a couple of harder lines in here, but that's okay. We'll get those fixed up. I'm not going to worry about them. Okay, what do I want to move on to next? I like the way this is starting to look under here. We're going to add a bit more to the side of his snout here. We're going to darken this up, which is going to add more dimension to his face. It'll make it look like it has an edge to it rather than right now it looks a little flat coming all the way across. we'll firm this color up and through here. Right, we should still darken up a little bit more back here, but I think we need, while we're waiting for that, we need to work a little bit on his coat here. So let's jump into his coat. Now let's take a look and see what we need to do on his coat. Where am I going to? Reference photo. There we go. So you can see, just like on his hat, he's got a few areas where that fabric has got some kind of ripples in it, where it's a little bit darker in one area, a little bit lighter in one area, right? Where it bends out, the light hits it a little bit more, and it's a little bit lighter, and where it's curved in a little bit, more concave, it's a little bit darker. So I'm going to try to do that a little bit. And I think I'm not going to do this with just reds, because just reds are going to make this crazy. But what I am going to do, I'm going to do another stint here, another little thing here. So we got Pyrrol red. Let's do this. Pyrrol red. And if I want to tone that down, I got two ways to do it. Right, one is I can put in a blue color. Let's try cobalt blue. Okay, and that should make a nice purple for us. I'm going to mix this on this page rather than take up a little spot on my palette. So that should give us a nice purple, and that's one way to make a shadow color. The other way, I guess, would be to take some of that red and use the composite color, which would be a green, and that green is way too strong. That's probably a bit better, and we can make our shadow color that way, right? And while I think adding the blue is good for a general shadow, this is kind of the way I was thinking I wanted to try it. Is to use the opposite color, which means we got to use even more green on this, which seems a little counterintuitive. I'm gonna put this up here, right? There's our green, a little bit more of our red. We can mix that however we want. And anybody, feel free to tell me I'm off my rocker to do this. I'm open to being told that maybe this isn't the best idea to do, but I think this is going to work out. This probably really is the best way to do this. I'm looking, this color really does go pretty far up here. That's his collar. This color basically comes down around his shoulder, up something like that. I think, Natalie, thank you for backing me up, Natalie. Thank you. This really is the way you're supposed to do it. I know it is, but it's not the way. To me, it's not the intuitive way to do it. Okay, and I'm going to stop right there in the smallest area possible right there, because I want to make sure I'm not getting a tide line in here, or too much of a tide line anyways. I'm going to let this come way out, way out. There's a little bright patch up there. All right. Being brave with the green. This phthalo green is so powerful. It's so strong. let's see. This one comes something like this. Has anybody else, let me ask this question. Has anybody else been working on any other watercolor paintings this week? How about this? something to distract me while I put some color on here where I'm not entirely confident in how I'm doing this. Anybody else done any cool paintings this week? I hope the answer is yes. That red and green look good. Thank you, Sadiq. Thank you. No, it should work out. It should be the right way to do it. Like I said, it just, to me, doesn't seem intuitive that if I want something to have a shadow on it, I've got to put something not bluish on it. I've got to put something greenish on it. To me, that seems weird. It really does seem weird to me. Let's see. This is going to come up this way a little bit. And that might have been a mistake. This might have been too dry down here for what we're doing. I have been working. I think I told you guys last week. I've been working on a commission. Ooh, Natalie, you started to teach your basic watercolors last month. That's exciting. Dwayne, you haven't painted in 3 months. Betty, for the mentals, flip to switch. I totally understand that. Natalie, how's the course been going? JC says, doing fun boots with flower bouquets in them for Christmas gifts for some friends. Oh, cool. Totally Kitchen Hilarious. I love Totally Kitchen Hilarious. Obviously. That's great. All right, now what I need to do is not take away all of the brightness. Actually, that looks like there's some movement in the fabric already. It does look like there's some movement in that fabric. I'm excited about that. I'm happy about that. Let's take that down a little bit. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. And he doesn't have a hand. I know I didn't paint a hand on him, but let's give a little bit of darkness down here too. This will set it off from his arm at least, where his hand should be. A couple of my students come from Detail Acrylics. My wife, this has nothing to do with your class, obviously, but my wife found a teaching job for acrylics online, I don't know what it's called, like an art party class. She's like, you should teach it. I think you do great at an art party class. I'm like, first of all, I don't know what an art party is. And she's like, no, it's just people getting together and, wanting somebody to teach them how to do it. I looked it up and it's acrylics. And I'm like, I don't have any idea. But I did make some progress on my, ooh, wow, they're big. On my ravens that I've been painting. A little bit of progress. I've still got quite a ways to go, but I think it's getting there. And because I'm ridiculous, I painted this without black. There's no black. There is no black in this painting at all. I'm painting ravens or crows without any black. So I'm a glutton for punishment. But that's one of the commissions I'm working on. I actually showed it to the guy I'm painting it for today, and I'm like, I don't know about this. There's no black in it. I'm not convinced it looks like you really want it to look. And he looked at it and he was like, oh my God, that's great. He goes, I love it. So I'm glad there's that. glad there's that. My wife always reminds me we are by far our worst critic, and what you think is not the best thing, other people are going to think is fantastic. And I'm hoping that in this instance she's actually right. That the people I'm painting it for, the guy I'm painting it for, really do end up loving it. Natalie, how many people do you have in your course? I'm curious, how many people? And how do you dole out assignments? I'm so curious. Do you all work on the same thing, or do you go, here are a number of things that you could work on? That would be really nice if you could do, or how does that work for you? And I'm trying to connect a couple of these areas here. Right? Oh, and I should say, I was telling Sudike at the beginning of this whole stream, after last week's utter fiasco with my internet stopping and starting and the whole stream not going to plan, let's just say, I had jotted down some notes that OBS had suggested that I do to make things better, and I looked them up on YouTube to ensure that those settings were indeed correct, and I've made those changes. And so far tonight, I'm not gonna say we've completely alleviated the problems, but at least so far tonight we haven't seen any interruption in the broadcast. So I think that's a step in the right direction. And now, Natalie, I know you put something up there. I'm going to read it now. Let's see. So far this month, just one with the holidays. The women are busy. Okay, cool. Trying to get them to loosen up with water takes work. Yes, it takes work for all of us. It's not a natural thing. It's hard. It's hard. Cool, and this is going to be dark down here. All right, so I will admit, this looks a bit of a mess. But it's okay. It's okay, because we're going to add in some pops of red to bring this all together. Actually, I don't think it looks that bad. I don't think it looks that bad at all. I think we get a little bit of this brighter red on there, and it's just going to look like a couple of folds in fabric in there. I think it's going to be great. Okay. All right, back to his head. Phthalo green, azo orange. I always want to tell myself, and a little bit of this olive green in there. I always tell myself I'm going to grab the orange first to keep the green out of my yellows, and I always do it the wrong way around. I do a lesson with a skill each week, and then we apply the skill to an easy painting that takes a lesson or two. Interesting. Are your what's the word I'm looking for? Are the subjects that your class is painting? Because I took in the college watercolor class I took, it was here's what I want you to do. Everybody go grab some images and show me how you can do that. in the community watercolor class I took, not a class, this session is more like it, at my local library, put on by the local watercolor society. In many ways, it was so much better than the college course I took, because when we went into it, the guy already had a whole series of images drawn, and he went, "This is what I want you to take away from it, and this is the image. Here it is. I've pre-drawn it for you. All you have to do is paint on it, and we'll go from there." And I always thought that was kind of a cool way to do it. So that's the only reason I'm asking, is how you have structured your course. I'm curious, is all. And if I had to do it, I have no idea how I would do it. I would do it badly, I'm sure. I'd go, "Hey, isn't this fun? Let's just try this," and off we'd go, off to the races. Last month we painted pumpkins to mix colors and learn shadows on a basic shape. Okay, I put together a pumpkin still. Okay, cool. All right. So you are kind of doing it. I get it. And I've got something on my guy here. All right. Either way, I think it's really cool. Either way, Natalie, I think it's pretty awesome. I can sit here and I can do this, but I don't think painting on YouTube takes half of the prep time, half of the patience, half of the skill probably that you are showing teaching that class. So my hat's off to you. I don't know that I could do it. So more 100% power to you. I'm tickled that you're doing it. I'm so in a lot of ways I'm pretty jealous, but I think it's really cool. So I'm going to darken his turkey neck here a little bit. But I do wonder, could or should I ever get into doing something like that? I just don't know. I don't know if I could do it. I don't know. I will say, this was really funny. I hired a new guy at work. We got now. This month we're doing. Let's see. This month we're doing ornaments for blending smooth colors, and then a wreath for practicing strokes toward doing florals next month. Wow. All right, that's cool. I don't know if I told this last week. I hired a guy in my office, and I think everybody knows I work at a university. And working at a university, you have a lot of benefits that you probably don't have out in industry, or maybe only at a few companies in industry. Well, one of the perks we have is on-site daycare, right? You work at the university. You have the opportunity to enroll your child in the daycare that we have on campus. So I hired a guy, and he's got I don't even know how old his daughter is. 4, something like that. Not very old. Cute, right? And she came into the office because he's got to walk her down to the daycare center when it opens, and he gets to work at 8, and I think the daycare doesn't open until 9, something like that. It's fine. That's fine. That's all good. Well, I saw her sitting in his office last week looking a little forlorn. And I'm like, well, that's just not going to do. Can't have that. So I walked over to her with a professional grade Winsor & Newton watercolor set, which was fine. It's probably the best watercolor set she's ever used, which is funny. But I walked over to her with a watercolor set, and I said, hey, I know you're only going to be here for a half an hour or whatever, but if you want to do some watercolors, here's some watercolor paints, and here's a paintbrush and some paper. And then when you're done, your dad can hang it up in his office, and you can, when you come back the next time, you can do it all over again and everything like that. So it was so cute. Her face just lit up. She's like, and so now his office has like 20 these little watercolor paintings all done. Let's see. Paintbox, that's cool too. Paintbox Life. The hardest part of teaching was finding the people who actually want to learn. Most people were just lonely and wanted to hang out with people. I'm okay with that. As long as they're not disrupting the people who want to learn. That's cool. Hey, we all want to have a couple extra friends, right? There we go. Look at this guy. All right, he's starting to get there. He's starting to look good. I like the direction we're moving with this. We're an hour into it. How long are we? Yeah, we're an hour into this, and I finally like the direction we're going with this. No. This guy's looking good. He's looking good. He's getting there. A little bit more something here. A little bit more something there. He's going to turn out just about right. I'm going to put a little dark under his eyes here. I do want these to stand out. I like when eyes stand out. I like that they're not the same color that go right up to the rest of the eye. We have a little different color here. It's going to make this eye pop off the page. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? Whatever perfect is. It doesn't have to be anatomically correct. It doesn't have to be geographically correct, if that's a thing. Whatever. It's just got to be there. It's got to set it off. My goal is to set this eye off. Make it just different enough that it stands out, so when you look at it, that eye pops off the page at you. When I do my eyes, that's almost always my goal. To me, it's much more important to make this eye stand out than it is to make it accurate. Right? You want people to notice that eye. You want people to be drawn into it. Now, let's see. A little bit of a dark color in there, a little bit of a dark color in there. We're getting somewhere with some of this. I'll bet you if I painted some shadows on the white here, you'd go, whoa, that looks pretty good. As it is right now, I think it looks a little, let's just use the word interesting. Right? Here's another interesting part of this. Natalie discovered the whiskers that this guy had. This is another interesting thing. Somehow, his spines stick out through his jacket, which is fine. We're going to paint those in. Why not? Every self-respecting lizard has some nice spines on its back, right? Wanting to be Godzilla maybe or something like that. I don't know. Actually, do we know what kind of does anybody know what kind of lizard Godzilla was? This is completely off topic. But bonus points for anybody who knows. And if you don't, it doesn't matter because I wouldn't know if you had the right answer or not anyways. So it doesn't really matter. Let's do this. There. All right, he's got some extra green back there too. All right. Now, I promised a little bit of extra pop of red in a couple of areas up here. I want to do a quick glaze of some red up here to bring the color, the vibrancy of this back up a little bit. And I think it's going to be just dry enough we can do some of that. Just a quick glaze right over top in a few areas. Yeah, look, that already looks so much brighter than that, right? Let's see what it looks like when it dries. But it's looking so much better. I should ask, does anybody have any big holiday plans? My plans are to not do a whole lot, quite honestly. But I'm willing to live vicariously through anybody else. It's my favorite way to do things. Listen to other people's stories of how much fun they have had doing things. I really do enjoy that. So if you get somebody who's a good storyteller, it's almost like you've been there. You've done some of the things on your own, even though you haven't been there to do anything. Look at that arm. Oh, come on. A couple of lines here and there went from something that didn't stand out a whole lot now to look at that. That's a good looking arm all of a sudden. And that dark really helps. You gotta have the dark in there. That dark really helps. Let's see if we can do the same thing over here. Now over here, as long as that's not wet, right, we know we've got to make a really dark line here. Right, this is what's going to separate his jacket from the rest of him, and I think I'm just going to leave this as a hard line. Right, I'm going to leave this as a hard line just like that. That's some shadowing. That's some hard shadowing right there. There we go. That's a little area just up inside the shoulder up there. According to Google, the modern Godzilla is a mutated marine iguana. There we go. Natalie's going to have a quiet Christmas, but the grandbabies are coming in January. Yes. That'll be fun. That will be fun. I've got a ways to go for that. Grandkids. I don't even want to think about grandkids. I got a ways to go. If I were Burt Reynolds, I'd say I've got a long way to go and a short time to get there. No. Is that right? I don't know why I thought a Smoking the Bandit reference would be good there. He's shaping up really nice, good depth. A real portrait. He's getting there, right? He's going to get there. He's going to look good. He's going to end up looking really nice. Watercolor paintings are always really weird. You put some color on and you go, this is going to be great, and it looks good, and then it looks bad, and then you go, what was I thinking? And then you do a little bit more, and then all of a sudden it goes, you know what, that's not so bad, I think I'm okay with it. I think we're in the, you know what, that's not so bad, I think I'm okay with it stage, or we're getting there anyways. We're definitely getting there. Let's see, let's give him a little bit of a bigger muscle around here. Something around his elbow. Yeah, a couple of these lines here really helping to give him some structure to him. Really giving him some structure. And then, of course, down here, maybe a little line up there, but definitely down on the bottom of his arm here. All right, I'm going to leave his arm for just a moment. As I take another stab at his arm. I'm going to leave his arm. I'm not going to touch his arm for just a second. And I'm going to come back and do a little bit more work on his eyes here real quick, right? Come on, give me this color. Let's get his eye on here. Darker, more. Still doing it. I'm still going into... let's see, how do I want to do this? It's got to be a little darker at the top up here. And then I can lighten it as it goes towards his eye. That's how I'm going to do it. I'm trying to think what the structure of the hood of his eye here is like. Oh, Dory. Where's Dory? Dory's been here the whole time. All right, if that color stays like that, I'm going to like that eye. Now, we still have the black to put in there. I'm okay with that. Now, while I've got that wet, I want to bring up the tone of the red over here with another glaze on this side. As long as that's dry, and I think that's dry enough. The ugly face can be difficult. Sometimes I have to take a break and look at it the next day. Listen, I think we all have to do that. That ugly phase is a killer sometimes, right? It's so defeatist. You just gotta tell yourself, I'm gonna power through. Have faith that you can do it. And it's not an easy thing always to do, but have faith that you're doing it right. Oh, I love that. That's much more red. Much more red. And you know what I want to do is I want to do a little bit of this dark color on part of his hat up here. A little bit. I want to make sure I don't get much of a tide line in here. But that's really going to help set in a couple of these creases. You can't have lights if you don't have darks. We're going to put in some darks. And look at it, it's looking a lot. With only doing a little bit, it's looking a lot better, isn't it? It's amazing what a well-placed dark will do for your painting. The proper dark, I guess, not just any. It looks good. Come on, man, you look good. Why you got that weird look on your face? I don't think he's quite certain about it. But he should be. It looks good. Looks good. Yes, yes, really looks good. I do, I like it. I like it. I like it. A little bit more darker. Come on, give me some of this olive color. I'm only getting phthalo. Give me a little bit of olive green. There it is. I want a little bit of darker around his eye there. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. I think he's turning out. he's hysterical. I think he's turning out great. He's getting to where I had hoped he was going to be, which is a fun kind of a holiday, Christmassy ish. Oh man, I'm gonna be giggling about this guy all night. I promise you. I promise I'll be giggling all night about him. All right. I do need to. Actually, I can do a little bit of this, much more on the green side. All right, his head kind of comes up this way a little bit. He's got a little bit back here that is like let's move that down even a little bit. Let's extend that. There, let's do that. All right. What else can we do here for him? I'll let this dry. Oh, he's got some buttons. He's got some buttons. I hope you guys are giggling at home watching this. Watching this completely ridiculous painting. Next week has nothing to do with Christmas, which is one reason why I wanted to make sure we got it in this week. Because for whatever reason, I decided next week we're going to paint a sandwich. For whatever reason. Why not? It's a sandwich. People love sandwiches. But you have to ask the question, has anybody looked up what actually is a sandwich? I had to look up what is a sandwich. And there is a very specific definition of what a sandwich is. And if you read the definition, then you know that a hot dog does meet the criteria for a sandwich. Barely. Typically, it would have to be on two pieces of bread, but it can be on a roll. sandwich can be on a roll. So it can be a hot dog, but it cannot be a taco or a burrito or a calzone or any of those kinds of things. I want to just differentiate this line here a little bit. Just a little bit. And I'm going to try to accentuate his lip here just a little bit. I'm going to put a little color there. Just enough to leave a little bit of a line and then blend it out on the other side. Just so we can all see that it's doing something there. All right, let's see. What else can we talk about? What else is... We're doing pretty good here. I think Christmas this year, and I'm ashamed to say a little bit, that as I get a little bit older and a little bit older, everything seems to be sneaking up on me a little bit, but Christmas is sneaking up on me much faster this year than I thought it was going to. I don't know exactly why that is. I thought I had Christmas pretty well dialed in, and then all of a sudden, blammo, it's like a week to go, or 12 days. How many days do we have until Christmas? It's not many. But I was like, holy cow, it seemed like we had forever, and all of a sudden, Thanksgiving hit, and before I knew it, we're already in the second week of December, and I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. How did all of this happen? Now, I do have a couple of things here. We're not quite done yet, but I got a couple of things here. So I don't want to do all of the scales on this lizard, and I'm not always really big on doing hugely repetitious things. But I am up for, I don't like how this color comes. I want to take a little bit of that color off. I think I got a little aggressive with that color. I just want to dial that back a little bit. I think that looks a little better. That makes his nose look longer. I think that makes his nose look longer. Yeah, okay, I like that better. I could actually even cove this in just a little bit more. Yes, better. Now you can see how it goes up around his eye there, I think. And in doing that, in thinking about that, now I've totally forgotten what I was going to talk about. Anybody know what I was talking about? Anybody have any idea? Or has it just been me rambling and nobody has any idea what I was talking about? Which is entirely possible, and happens more than I would like to admit. That people go, what are you talking about? I'm not exactly certain. I've totally lost track of what I was saying. Totally. All right. I'm going to start on something new then. There we go. Look, the back side of that eye right there. I know what I was saying was I do like seeing the scales around the lips, but what I do want to do is figure out if I want to draw that in with a woodless graphite pencil. Right? And basically what we're talking about is doing something like this. Or if I want to do it with everybody's favorite drawing pencil, the Black Wing, which would be just a little bit lighter than that black graphite pencil. Or if I want to do it with a colored pencil, which could more match the colors that are on his lips there. And I don't know, quite honestly, how much that's going to matter. I really don't know how much that's going to matter, or if it's going to matter. Give a little bit of dark around these buttons a little bit. And I think I need a line on the inside of this jacket. So you can see where it comes together. Actually, that's not too bad. I don't know about the going around these buttons. Whoever did that did a bad job. I have those same woodless pencils. These Koh-i-Noor woodless colored pencils, they're actually pretty good. I actually like them. 24, you can see I've used some. I think I've dropped a few. Yeah, if I could get them out. I've dropped a few and they've kind of broken a little bit, but they're fantastic little pencils. I do very much like those. All right. I like his eye up here. I like his eye. I like his eye, and therefore I'm going to put more color on it. Now, I like his eye. I like that he's got a natural highlight right in the center of it. That's going to look spectacular when it dries. Okay. Now, we need to figure out what we want to do down here with his top knot here. That hat looks good. The hat looks good. And here, do I make it look like fur, or do I let it look white and blue, right? Do I make it look like a puffball? It hardly looks like a puffball, does it? Like that, something like that. And of course, right, the lining of his hat, which would be something like that. Or do I do that with some color and make it look more fur-ish? I think I'm just going to go blue. I think we have enough color in here for the rest of this. And I'm just going to let it be quite blue. I'm going to let it be quite blue. Let me take some of this color off of there. If I get a little purple, that's okay too. Right, something like that. That's just going to denote there's something there. It doesn't need to be a ton of color. Maybe back here it needs to be a bit more. Under here it can be some color. A little bit on the top, but just enough so you know. Something is there. And I'm just going to continue to futz and play. Futz and play. Because that's what I like to do. Whether I need to or not. What I am going to do is quickly, before I really get carried away. Actually, I think he's actually think he looks pretty good. He doesn't look exactly like the picture here. Let me blow this up for you. Reference. There you go. Doesn't look exactly like that. I don't need him to look exactly like that. Actually, it doesn't look much of anything like that. That's okay. I think he looks better. I like his look. I like his look. I think it's interesting. I think he's got more interest than the reference photo. He's looking at you like you can just see when this goes over and curves down, it just looks like this big frown on his face. Well, I don't know about this. I'm going to enhance that frown with a little bit of this. And I'm going to just draw in some lines. I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to show you here in just a second how little these lines are. But when you see that they're there, you're going to go, you know what? I think it's good that they're there. But they really don't need to be much. They really don't need to be much. And I'm not necessarily even sticking with, here we go. Look, you can just see where those big scales are. One right there. I'm not necessarily even sticking with the lines that I had drawn on there. Look at that. All of a sudden, now he's got these big scales around his lips. And they look great. So I just put in that little those little triangles, little triangle, little triangle, you know, a little triangle there, a little triangle there, and it just makes those look like they're circles as much as anything. Here, 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 just an arc. Just you want to see the top of those. That's all, not a whole lot else. And I think he looks fantastic. I really like him. I think he's an absolute hoot. I'll give him a little highlight on his eye there. It's not quite dry. I can't do too much with it. I love his hat. I love the way it's folded here. that dark back there. Love the hat. I like the vest. I don't know if it's perfect how it looks. It certainly doesn't look like that, and that's okay. You get the idea. You get the idea that there's some folding in there, right? Some curving. That line, now you know where this part of the vest buttons into that with the buttons. There's a little relief on those buttons. Right? You can almost see, look at the bulge of his muscle here. Look at how thick that arm is there. He's got a little bit of a turkey neck under here. That's okay. That's okay. He should be looking with his head up like this, not down. That's all right. I'm not gonna get on him for that. And then just some dark shapes back here, right? That are gonna help to give some definition to his arms, right? You can see that his arms, he's got some big muscles, some big lizard muscles. What am I talking about? I don't have any idea what I'm talking about. And yes, if you're wondering, yes, when I'm painting in the studio by myself on a Saturday morning or something like that, I still do talk to myself about stuff like this, and I'll talk about his lizard muscles on Saturday morning as I'm looking at this. I'm going to post this on my office door. Everybody who walks past is gonna have a riotous laugh about this. I think he's fantastic. I love him. Let's see. I'm going to sign him right here. I don't know. There it is. Okay, there is my version of a Santa lizard. It's just gonna make me laugh. Every time I look at it, I'm gonna start laughing about it. I think he's great. I think it's just something fun to paint. JC, thank you. Natalie, thank you. This is absolutely nothing serious. This is absolutely a frivolous painting. It's completely indulgent on my part. So I want to say thank you for sticking with me while I did it. I had a great time painting it. I hope you had a great time watching and great time participating, everybody. Thank you so much. Next week, we're going to be back. Next week will be the last painting in December, because I'll be off and doing some other things that last week in December. So next week will be the sandwich painting. I think I'm going to do like a sub sandwich or a roast beef sandwich. I don't know, something like that. If you have any suggestions, put it down below. Put it in Discord. Or if you have anything for next year, I guess next year sounds so far away. If you have anything for the next stream after the sandwich, give me a suggestion. I'm open to it, even if it's something crazy like this. But until our next painting, I want to say thank you for joining me. Thank you for making my Wednesday so enjoyable. I hope you have a great rest of your evening. I hope you have a great rest of your week. And I hope you're able to join me back here next week when we do this all over again. Until then, thank you so much. Bye-bye.